Hello, Fancy Creek friends. It's Miss Sass on the phone here once again, and today we are going to continue with reading standard RI.2.1. So let's race. What is race? Race is what our awesome Fancy Creek students use to answer constructed response questions, which means the answers must be provided using information that can be found in the text. Can you justify your answers? Here we have our amazing race poster. This poster can be seen in every single classroom on campus. We use race to help us when working with comprehension text and constructed response questions. Let's take a look at the poster and see what it's about and what race stands for. R, restate the question. A, answer the question. C, cite text evidence. E, explain or extend. In second grade, we are responsible for knowing R and A. Again, R, restate the question. Restate or reword the question. Turn the question into a statement. A, answer the question. What is being asked? Answer all parts of the question. Here we have a nonfiction text, and we're going to use this text to practice race today. And the text is called What Happens When I Recycle? Okay, so let's race, friends. Here we go. Here are the questions. It is so important, boys and girls, that we take the time to read over the questions or study the questions before we get into the text, before we start reading the text. That way we know what is being asked. So let's analyze the questions together. Question one, what are three things that can be made with recycled paper? So question one is asking about recycled paper. Question two, what is the first step in recycling glass? Question two is asking about recycling glass. Question three, which item is recycled the most often? And question three is asking about the most recycled item. Question four, what can your recycled soda can possibly become next? So question four is asking about recycled soda can. Question five, do you recycle? Why or why not? Question five is asking about you. That means that the answer to this question is not in the text. And remember to answer both parts of the question with two complete sentences. Here is the text. Before we get into reading, we are going to use the title and the subtitles to make a prediction. Let's see if we can figure out what this text is really about even before we start reading it. The title, What Happens When I Recycle, tells me that the main idea of this article is probably about recycling. And the subtitle paper tells me that the paragraph is probably about what happens to recycled paper. And glass, the subtitle glass tells me that the paragraph is probably about what happens to recycled glass. And aluminum, the subtitle aluminum tells me that the paragraph is probably about what happens to recycled aluminum. Okay, so now we are ready to read, and let's check to see if our prediction of the passage is correct. All right, start with the title, What Happens When I Recycle? Subtitle 1, Paper. For paragraph 1, when you recycle paper or newspaper, it is taken to a recycling plant where they sort the paper by what kind it is. Then they wash it to remove any staples, glue, or ink. They mix it with water to make a slurry. They add other items to the slurry to make cardboard, newspaper, or office paper. Once it is dry and cut into sheets, it is taken to a store to be sold and used again. The next paragraph, it is subtitled Glass. The glass that you recycle is also taken to a recycling plant. There it is crushed by large machines. It will be heated to temperatures like 2,500 degrees. It looks like hot lava. It can be reshaped and molded. As it cools, it will become new glass that can use to create jars or other bottles. Okay, so the last paragraph is subtitled Aluminum. Aluminum is probably recycled most often. It is picked up, sorted, and cleaned. Then it is melted down and reformed into rolls of aluminum. These rolls can be used to make candy bar wrappers, soda cans, or foil for wrapping leftover food. Okay, so now that we are done reading the text, we are ready to use the race strategy to help us answer this question. Okay, well, remember we're focusing on R, restate the question, and A, answer the question. So here is the first step to raise. Restate the question or reword the question, turn the question into a statement. So Ms. Sanapong is going to borrow words from the question, and I'm going to turn this question into a statement. These words are the words I am going to borrow. Three things that can be made with recycled paper are, okay, so note, if you notice, Miss Asana phone did not circle the words in the correct order or in the same order as the question, and sometimes you are required to do that because in order for the statement to make sense you have to move the words around, and also sometimes you might need to add a word or two to make the statement true or so that the statement makes sense. Okay, so in this case, I added the word the three things that can be made with recycled paper are. So here you have it, boys and girls. This is the statement. This is part one of race. Part two of race is answer the question. What is being asked? Answer all parts of the question. The question one has only one part. But before we answer the question, I want to remind you that you can actually go back in the text to look for answers or clues. Boys and girls, we highly encourage you to do this because then you're not guessing. Okay? If you're going back to the text to look for clues or answers, you're not guessing. You can tell Miss that's on the phone, tell your teacher, and you can justify and say, I know my answer is correct because I found the answer right here in the text. Okay, so here we have the three things that can be made with recycled paper. That's our statement. So we're going back to the text and we're going to find the correct information that will give us the correct answer to question one. Here is question one again. What are three things that can be made with recycled paper? This question is asking about paper. So I'm just going to reread paragraph one because it's subtitled paper, and I'm pretty sure my answer to question one is in this paragraph. So let's read it and see. When you recycle paper or newspaper, it is taken to a recycling plant where they sort the paper by what kind it is. Then they wash it to remove any staples, glue, or ink. They mix it with water to make a slurry. They add other items to the slurry to make cardboard, newspaper, or office paper. Once it is dry and cut into sheets, it is taken to a store to be sold and used again. Okay, did you see the answer to question one in paragraph one? I did too. Okay, the three things that can be made with recycled paper are cardboard, newspaper, and office paper? I know my answer is correct because I found the answer in this paragraph and I circled the sentence um, in blue ink, okay, to let you all know that that's where I found the answer. And this is something that you need to be doing as you are answering these questions, okay? Justify your answers by going back to the text and figuring out which information or which sentences give you the answer to all of your questions, okay? Okay, so before we end this, I want to remind you that you will have to repeat um, steps R and A for questions 2, 3, and 4. I know you can do it. Just make sure that you pay attention to the questions and use the strategies to help you. And remember, question 5 is asking about you and whether you recycle or not. There are two parts to this question, so make sure that you write two complete sentences for your answer. Okay, so a quick review of the poster. You're focusing on R, restate the question, and A, answer the question. Okay, friends, that's the end of our lesson. Thank you so much for watching Mr. Sanaphone's video again, friends. Double air high fives. Woo! Woo! I just want to tell you that I miss you all so very much. I look forward to seeing you and speaking with you soon. Please stay safe. Please be respectful and listen to your parents and be kind to your sibling and your pets. Okay. I hope that you enjoyed Mr. Xenophone's videos and I hope that you learned from it. Mr. Xenophone definitely had a lot of fun making all the videos, and I've learned so much from making all the videos. And I hope that you know that Mr. Xenophone is super duper proud of all of you, every single one of you, for what you're doing at home and for keeping up with your education. Remember, knowledge is power, so make sure you keep growing and learning. This is Mr. Xenophone signing off one last time for this year. Goodbye, friends. And again, I hope to see you soon.